Well, we had a good run.
Well guys, here we are at the end of yet another season of Rick and Morty. Every time a new season of Rick and Morty wraps up, no matter how long it takes, it always feels like it came and went way too soon. I mean, this one literally had a hiatus in the middle, and I was still surprised it was already over. Now that season 4 was concluded on such an incredible note, everyone is probably wondering, when is season 5, and will it take another 3 years? Luckily, we have some answers, arguably good ones. Don't worry, Rick and Morty will likely be back before you know it. Let's explain. Rick and Morty has been famous at this point for long hiatuses. Notoriously, the gaps between season 2 and 3 and 3 and 4, and there was a lot going on behind the scenes that contributed to this. At one point, they weren't even picked up for the next season, as the creators angrily voiced on social media. But that's why we got the biggest change in Rick and Morty production back in 2018, when the series was greenlit for a massive order of 70 episodes, the first 10 of which making up this 4th season. I'm not surprised Adult Swim ordered this many episodes, of course. Rick and Morty at this point is a huge show, definitely a cash cow at this point. They probably wanted as many episodes as they could get, and network deals like this take forever to figure out. So when we got the news that there was going to be 70 brand new episodes, for sure, for certain, I feel like everybody, creators and fans alike, took a collective sigh of relief. Pickups like these are a rarity nowadays, but they aren't uncommon. In fact, bulk pickups, although with a smaller count, are commonplace for shows like The Simpsons, Family Guy, and even South Park. And this is kind of the same adult animation circle that Rick and Morty runs. Albeit those shows are on bigger networks, but this is a sign that Adult Swim's starting to act the same way, and I think it's great. Ever since season 3 concluded and this pickup was revealed, Dan and Justin have been vocal that the wait between seasons will never be this long again. And starting with season 4, they would buckle down, and the big 70 episode pickup seems to support this. Now, instead of waiting for the green light and resources to produce the next season, they've been able to just go into a consistent workflow. Remember, these are creatives. 70 episodes sounds like a 6 to 7 year minimum of dedication to the show, which is a long time to be married to a project you've already worked on for years prior. They probably don't want to do this for the rest of their lives. Roiland already made another TV show, so it's a major incentive for them to get in there, finish the show, and hope the entertainment landscape is remotely the same when they get out, which I feel like is what everyone's doing. A lot of this was reiterated in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, in which they asked, "So when you made this deal to create 70 more episodes of Rick and Morty, were you more happy or terrified?" To which Justin replied, "We're happy. It's a lot of stories we want to tell, a lot to do, but it's great. Job security like that does not come easy in this town." They went on to ask, "Is there a plan, perhaps not to be followed, but a plan in terms of how often new seasons will be launched?" To which Roiland replied, "We're rolling right into the next batch. The plan has always been to get them out quicker." Harmon chimed in saying, "I think it's safe to say without fear of being wrong, that the gap between season 3 and 4 will be the longest and last time that is ever so long that it's ridiculous. I don't know how fast we can do it, but I know it will never be this long again. There were so many things that had to be settled before we even started season 4. And it's really safe to say, as Justin says, we're literally writing season 5 while finishing season 4 just to force ourselves to commit to a certain schedule. Not to get anyone's hopes up, but it is structured into our deal that if we're going strong and fast, there are options to deliver more episodes at a time. Adult Swim can say, these are on time and great, do you want to do more instead of taking a break? And we can do more. I'd like to see that day. Just knowing it's possible makes me eager for it." He goes on to finish that great profound point by saying, "I feel like a naughty boy when I'm late. Truly a great mind of our time." I love this man. As hopeful as this isn't just pure speculation either. The proof is in the pudding, and the Rick and Morty team have given strong indication that season 5 is actually more or less already done with initial production. One of the longest and definitely most crucial parts of a season is the writing. And in terms of writing, in May of last year, Dan Harmon posted a photo on Instagram revealing episode concepts for season 5 written down on sticky notes, showing they were preparing to head into the stages of figuring an episode out and eventually producing scripts once they get the ideas narrowed down. And these episode concepts were incredible. The people's basketball court, Morty buys a boat. I mean, come on, give me these now. And this was May of last year, literally a year ago at this point. More good news came on September 20th of 2019 when writer Jeff Loveness finished his last day on Rick and Morty, attaching a photo of his final 5 scripts that included the first episode of season 5 on it. He blocked out the episode titles, but we will find a way to read them. Mark my words. According to Justin Roiland in a May 2020 interview with Slash Films, season 5 is mostly, as he puts it, in the can. He says, "I think it's largely dependent on how quick the episodes can get produced. I know season 5 is mostly in the can. They're still going to be reworking when the animatics come back, so that can extend the process. I believe if they have the full 10 episodes, they'll release them without a split, but I honestly have no idea. That's kind of a question that's outside my jurisdiction. They do what they think is best for the show. I'm glad that they did the split, season 4A and season 4B, because I'm always looking at some kind of alternate new media way to release the show, since it is mostly binged. I think most people binge the show after it's online somewhere. That's pretty standard for the way things are nowadays. It's not like appointment television. Some people still do that, but most people are like, when is it available for me to watch on my schedule? That's such a good point, and it's really refreshing to see Justin admitting that. Television is moving into a whole new medium, and hopefully Rick and Morty can move and change with that. He goes on to say, I've been saying we should drop an episode each month. Just make it a big event. I like the idea of thinking outside the box with how any show is delivered to the masses. If you do one a month, the show is alive the whole year, and you're still buying us all the time time we need to make them as good as they need to be. I'm not saying that's ever gonna happen, but I have brought that up in the past. That just goes to the point that I have no idea what the plan is for season 5. I'm sure whatever it is will be the right decision. Even the voice cast is giving us good news. On May 1st, 2020, in an interview with Games Radar, Chris Parnell, iconic voice of Jerry, remarked that the wait shouldn't be as long, backing it up with actual production knowledge. He says, "I think, knowing now that we have the 70 episode order, I think these are going to be less of a wait. One lucky thing is our show is animated in Canada primarily, so they don't have some of the same restrictions we might if our show was animated in the Asian countries where things have been a little more locked down." He goes on to say, "In the past there was a big holdup because we were waiting to see if there was a deal with Adult Swim returner. Once that was put into place, I think we were set up to move into a bit of a brisker pace." Chris Parnell, a legend as always, was pretty honest about the situation, and it just shows how everybody involved with Rick and Morty is determined to get the show made and faster than they have before. And I know what you might be thinking, the world is kind of falling apart right now, but no worries, Corona won't delay it. If you've been keeping an eye on the entertainment industry, you probably have seen that animation is the least affected by everything going on, as most if not all of it can be done remotely. Growing pains and adjustments aside, animation has been trucking along just fine, so no worries there. Don't even consider it an issue. Not to downplay how tough it's been on everybody, and animators are working harder now than ever. They have my full respect, but if anything, they're a testament to how good hardworking people can keep their spirits strong, how much of the animation industry is just straight up filled with good hardworking people. Tip my hats to you, ladies and gentlemen. You're killing it. If you ask me, season 5 and future episodes will likely follow season 4's pattern of 5 in the fall, 5 in the spring. It's a similar release schedule to the Fox animation domination lineup, namely Simpsons and Family Guy, and at one point that was pretty much the premiere schedule for South Park, until they decided to just keep it all one continuous stream of episodes for 10 weeks or so straight, which is interesting in its own right. If you have not seen the documentary on it, I highly recommend it. Those guys work hard. It's insane. Pulling it back into the network though, Adult Swim is facing a huge shift right now, with Mike Lazar retiring and syndication rights to Family Guy and other Fox properties getting ready to expire next year. They need to breathe a lot of new life into their programming, and a consistent Rick and Morty schedule is one way to make that happen. Even if they sit on the season and refuse to release its other half until the following year, that just means the next season is further along. So at the end of the day, that's the safest bet, it seems. A fall return. Not just for the sake of the crew, but the channel hosting them that is finally forced to add some more structure to its weirdness. So yeah, if you ask us, another November premiere date is our biggest bet. Maybe sooner, maybe a little bit later, but definitely around that time. So, production aside, what will season 5 be about? Well, Star Mort Rick Turn of the Jerry set up the foregoing arcs pretty nicely. There's 2 Beths now, and neither of them really seem to like Rick. Morty has stood up to Rick more now than ever, and it seems like him and Summer are a pretty unstoppable team without Rick there. He's starting to lose control of his own family, and he's not even a threat to anybody anymore because people would rather leave him alone than fight him. I was totally unsure how they were going to play this show after the season 3 finale where they basically made him a god, but they took the perfect route. Because he is a god, nobody cares and no one's going to touch him. His biggest fear is loneliness and overall boredom. I really hope they expand more on this in season 5. I have a strong feeling they will, and it's just a super interesting direction for the series. Because the Smith family, and like I mentioned, even the Galactic Federation as a whole, is over Rick. He has to earn his relevance back, and we'll likely see him try to give into his family's whims and sci-fi pitches more, which would expand upon the Vat of Acid episode where Morty and Rick were at odds because of sci-fi disagreements. Space Beth offers an entire status quo change. There's no reason to exclude Space Beth from Space Adventures now, alongside the idea that there could be an episode all about Morty and Summer tagging along onto a mission related to fighting the new and improved Galactic Federation. Even if she's not in every episode, her presence and effect on the family will be felt. Everyone's feeling a lot more confident with Rick having little control over them. Side note, if you want more theories and speculations, make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more videos on season 5 that'll touch on what else we can see from Space Beth in the future, but shameless promotions aside. Another thing we got at the end of season 4 that was incredibly exciting was the return of Bird Person, now Phoenix Person, as he's living in Rick's garage, with Rick literally trying to physically repair his friendship with Bird Person. It's an interesting premise, and I feel like it will end positively, but with everything Rick's going through, I feel like Phoenix Person or Bird Person will be there for him when he needs to talk to somebody. He might end up being his only friend left. Squanchy's still missing, and one of Rick's Death Crystal visions implies he's under Federation control, though that's just speculation. And Space Beth also feels like a check-in on Evil Morty free card. I definitely think, going off the previous pattern of the show, we may have Evil Morty every other season. The nugget of a cameo in Never Rick and Morty was enough to tide us over, however. Side note, I'm more confident than ever that they can continue with a Rick and Morty storyline now that they actually had Tammy return. That episode was kind of a downer when it came out, if I'm being honest, but now I'm starting to realize they're just doing whatever they want, whenever they want. We can't expect anything. And I kind of love that. But the biggest upcoming question in Rick and Morty is how Rick and Morty's relationship will change. It's been incredibly different since the beginning of the show. Morty finally has a backbone. Rick and Morty are more as equals. They talk about their feelings now. Morty is less willing to deal with Rick's BS. So we'll see where that leads. Either way, they've set the dominoes up perfectly for season 5 to be one of the most incredibly interesting and exciting seasons of the show yet, and I've never been more excited for more Rick and Morty. They hit a rough patch, but I firmly believe they're getting out of it, especially with production, and no matter how long it takes for season 5, it will be worth the wait. But that being said, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think we'll get season 5 sooner or later? Let us know in those comments down below. Tweet to us at Roundtable Vids or me at @StretcherNemo. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the Roundtable for more incredible cartoon content. As always, guys, I'm Nemo. This is Rick and Morty Breakdown, and I will see you next time. Peace.